So here the question number 8 is asking to identify the grammatically correct sentences from the given choices. A or 1.
Yes.
The population of New Delhi is more than other cities in India. Second, the population of New Delhi is more than that of any other city in India. 3, the population of New Delhi is more greater than other cities in India. 4, the population of New Delhi is much greater than those of any other city in India. So what is the correct sentence?
Yes,
For me, the answers is 2.
Who is answering? Vieira or Focus?
Donasie. Afashima.
Donasie. Okay. What about the others? You can even use chat box. I can see the answer from Muniwe Mahoro Albertine.
Hello.
You said hello, guys. Yes. Albertine, what is the answer?
From me, the answer I think is the second.
The second.
I can see the answer is the second.
Okay.
Hey.
Let me take one student randomly.
Hello?
Yes, Florence Ishimwe. What is the answer? Florence is here. Okay, we take another student.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, the correct answer is 2.
Is 2.
Yeah.
Niyonkuru Jack. What is the correct answer?
Hello.
Yes, what is the correct answer?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, do you get me? My name is Shimu. I think the correct answer is 2.
Okay. Who is Gad's premium outlet? Who is Gad's premium outlet? Okay. Okay, guys. Let me start today's lecture. And you guys mute yourself, focus. And if you want to send the answer in the chat box. We want to finish this verbal topic by today. Then tomorrow we'll start from quantitative part. Okay? Thank you.
Compared to the population of other cities, not other cities. You can say New Delhi is more populous than other cities. That's fine. Because you're comparing New Delhi itself to other cities. New Delhi is more populous than other cities. That's fine, because city to city comparison is okay. But the population of New Delhi is more than other cities in India is incorrect. The population of Delhi is more than that of, meaning the population of, this that refers to the population. Population of any other city in India seems to be okay. If you look at the third one, more greater is the double comparative. ER itself is the comparative degree, so more greater makes a double comparative and hence incorrect. The population of Delhi is much greater than those of any other cities. And this those is used only when you have a plural. So you can say something like, the roads of New Delhi are much cleaner than those of any other city. Fine, because roads is plural, you can use those. But here, we're talking about something that is uncountable. Population, all uncountable nouns are treated as singulars. Therefore, the population of New Delhi is much greater than that of any other city in India. Is fine. Okay. So the population of India is more than that of any other city in India is the right expression. So this is a pretty simple comparison question, not a tough grammar one. So you should be able to get this right. Let's look at the next question. Their streets are too narrow, so no parking of cars are allowed on both sides of the road. This is another question type in which a part of the sentence is underlined, and you have to identify the right replacement for it. So if you see, if you look at the options, you have are allowed and is allowed. First, we have to decide if it is are allowed or is allowed. You use are allowed when the subject is plural, because are is a plural verb. So if you ask a question, what is allowed or what is not allowed, the answer to that is parking is not allowed. You don't say cars are not allowed, parking is not allowed. Because parking is singular, you need is allowed. Remove all options in which you have are. Is allowed on neither side, is allowed on either side. You already have a no here. So the streets are too narrow, they're pretty narrow, very narrow, excessively narrow. This word too tells you that they're excessively narrow, to an unwanted degree narrow. So, as a result of which, no parking of cars is allowed on either side of the road. You cannot say neither, because neither makes it double negative. Negative if negative is positive, thereby telling you that parking of cars is allowed on either side. So your answer should be no parking is allowed on either side. So either can mean both, either can also mean one between two. So you say either of my brothers can do it, it means both your brothers can do it. Or when you say either of my brothers is available, there it means one between those two brothers is available. So it depends on the context. Either can mean either, right? Either can mean both or one between two. Right, let's look at the next question. Ron felt very dashed when he failed to score the qualifying marks in the entrance test. Pretty simple blank in terms of whether you need a positive word or negative word. Before you look at the options, look at...
Guys, who can send me the answer for this question number 10? I thought here there is Rwandan and Burundian for the first class, right? And you will understand me well if I speak in Kinyarwanda as well. Shaka igisubizo cy'ikibazo cya 10. Nkuko twabyize bwa mbere, nkuko twabyize bwa mbere, itegeko cyangwa se ibwiriza rya mbere ryo gutsinda iki kizamini by'umwihariko muri verbal part, nuko usoma amategeko. Amategeko aba yatanzwe na yahe? Nahangaha hejuru handitse ngo select one entry for the blank and fill the blank in the way that best complete the next. Iryo ni ibwirizwa riba ryatanzwe ry'ibyo ugomba gukora. Then bakaguha ikibazo. Iyo utasomye ibyo ugomba gukora kuri PRAGATI exam, uhita utsindwa. Iyo uhisuza ugasoma ikibazo, utasomye instruction, uhita utsindwa. Guys, I wanna mean that if you don't read instructions given to each question, you will fail. What you need to read the instruction before, like at the beginning. You firstly read the instruction for the question, and each question has its own instruction. So for example here, the instruction which is given is to select one entry for the blank and we have to fill the blank in the way that best completes the text. So then we have the question here. Lam failed to vary, then dash. When they fail to score the qualifying marks in the entrance exam, then we have the choices: board, jubilant, triad, and gloomy. So I want the answers, you guys. Rwema 4, Florence answer is 4, Gloomy. Umutesi 1, 4, Gloomy, 4, Gloomy. Okay, let's see.
What words you would use here. When is a good connector, telling you that when this happened, he failed to score. So when someone fails to score, you need a positive word or a negative word to describe their failings. You definitely need a negative word. Because you need a negative word here, rule out all options which are positive. Jubilant means excited, full of energy, enthusiasm, fun. You are happy. So you say the Indian crowd was jubilant after Sachin hit a six. So jubilant is incorrect. Thrilled also is positive. As you know, thrilled is excited, enthusiastic, full of energy, full of verve, etc. So you either have bored or gloomy. Bored is negative. However, the context is different. You're bored when you do not have anything exciting to do. Here it doesn't mention that Ram did not have anything exciting to do. On the other hand, what it means is Ram failed to score, which means he should feel sad, he should feel low, his spirits should be down. So we need a word which means that. And the word that means that is precisely gloomy. Because gloomy means sad and dull, having no energy. So the answer that best fits the context is gloomy. Even if you do not know the meaning of the word gloomy, you can rule out the others, because you cannot be bored when you fail to score the qualifying marks. You cannot be jubilant or thrilled because they are both positive. Okay, so we have a pretty short passage. Let's read this and then come to the questions. Before that, let's see how many questions are based on this. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5 questions. All right, let's get started. Look at the passage. We're going to read this together, and any difficult questions that we have, we shall try to, any difficult sentences that we have, we shall try to break them down into parts and then look at the questions. Before that, there are certain words here. One is hardship and the other is prompted. Let's see the meanings as and when we arrive at these words when we read the passage. It basically helps you to remember these words, because when the moment you come across them, you can immediately come to these questions. Hardship and prompted. Let's get started. Hunger is one of the indicators of the magnitude of social injustices. Magnitude means intensity, measure, or the weight, how much something is present, of social injustices that exist in the world. Its existence can be traced back to very many years. So the author says, hunger is an indicator of how much social injustice is present in the world, and hunger has been present for many years now. The French Revolution in the 18th century was driven not only by demands for political freedom, but also by the lack of bread in Paris. So this sentence highlights the role of hunger in revolutions in the past. Food has been the cause and effect of many riots occurring whenever government policies caused severe economic hardship. So food, as a result, meaning lack of food here, has been the cause and effect of many riots. You might have heard the word riot before, where you have uncontrollable violence. People tend to fight with each other or against the government, occurring whenever government policies cause severe economic hardship. So whenever the government caused hardship, the word that we were looking for, economic hardship, economic meaning related to money, and clashed with the basic human right to food. Let's see what word can best replace hardship here. Look at the question on hardship. Which of the following is the synonym of hardship as used in the passage? So let's try to replace this with all the words that are given. We have difficulty, one of the options. Severe economic difficulty. So when you have difficulty, economic difficulty, when you do not have enough money, obviously there will be rights, right? So difficulty can be an answer. Let's look at the other options. Dilemma, on the other hand, means you do not know which choices to choose from. So you're stuck between two choices. That is when you have a dilemma. But here, you do not have a choice. You do not have money. You do not have money to buy food. Convenience is definitely wrong because it's positive. Comfort is definitely wrong because it's positive. Between difficulty and dilemma, which of these fits better in the context is what we should decide. Severe economic hardship. So when government policies leave you with no money, it is hardship. It is an economic difficulty. It's not a dilemma. It is not a situation in which you're stuck between two choices. So the answer should be difficulty, and clashed with the basic human right to food. All right. So your answer should be difficulty here. The other word we're looking for is prompted. Let's establish that as well as we go along. Tea was a non-edible food item that was used as a protest tool by a group of Boston citizens to protest the British tax on tea imported to the colonies. So tea is being imported to the colonies, British colonies. You know, Britain basically believed in colonization and enhancing its own wealth. So tea was a non-edible food item that was used as a protest tool by the group of Boston citizens. If you've heard about something called the Boston Tea Party in American history, you would know that. The food crises around the world prompted the establishment of the World Food Program. So we have food crises. You know, crisis is a situation in which there is great difficulty. So these difficulties in procuring food and feeding the people prompted the establishment of the World Food Program. Okay, so in the light of that sentence, let's understand what could be the meaning of the word prompted. We know that the food crises have prompted the establishment of the World Food Program, implying that the word prompted should mean that the crises led to. So we need a word which means led to. Let's analyze the meanings of the words in the options here. Discouraged to discourage is to ask somebody not to do something, right? So, you know, your parents discourage you from driving too fast, etc. Encourage is to ask someone to do something or to lead something. To essentially encourage means led, right? Disposed is thrown away. So to throw away is to dispose. So you say you need to dispose of your waste in a proper manner. And dismissed means to remove someone from a position or office. He was dismissed on account of fraud, so on. So to remove from a position or office. Based on all of these, we can easily understand that the word encouraged replaces the word prompted pretty well. If you were to go back to the passage again and try to apply each of these words, discouraged, encouraged, disposed, and dismissed, we see that it's encouraged that fits the context best. So the food crises around the word prompted, meaning the food crises around the world, encouraged the establishment or led to the establishment. However, the question here asks for an antonym of the word encouraged, as you see. So the answer should be option 1, discouraged. If it were synonym, your answer would be encouraged. But because it says antonym, the answer should be discouraged. Let's go to question 12 now, as we have read. So, why was the World Food Program established? So, if you want to answer this question again, the answer to this question lies in the same sentence. It says the World Food Crises led to the establishment, encouraged the establishment of the World Food Program, implying that the World Food Program has been put in place, has been instituted to address the issue of global food crises. That is found directly in 4. That might be the right answer, but let's look at the other options as well. To regulate the faulty distribution of food. The distribution of food has not been mentioned anywhere in the entire passage, so that is not a great way. Besides, it's not even linked to the establishment. To utilize the surplus of resources. The passage doesn't say that there are surplus of resources and the World Food Program is established to address that issue. To eradicate discrimination in food supply. Again, a discrimination in food supply has not been mentioned in the passage as the reason for establishing the World Food Program. So your answer should be option 4. So the learning from this is, do not read the entire passage in one go. As you read, after you've completed 100 to 150 to 200 words, it fits you to kind of come to the questions and see whatever you can answer based on what you've heard so far or read so far, because those thoughts are still fresh in your memory, and it is easy for you to arrive at answers by looking at the fresh thoughts in your mind. If you read the passage in its entirety, it becomes difficult for you to recollect specific thoughts from the passage, which in turn leads to issues of recollection and then going back to reading, again meaning the passage is kind of not fresh in your memory. All right. Let's look at the statement again. The food crises around the world prompted the establishment. So the World Food Program was essentially established to remove the food crises around the world. Next. In addition, many other United Nations agencies have included hunger or food security in their work programs. Let's see if we can answer any other questions. The author describes the scope of hunger to be dash. And question 1, the author considers hunger as dash. Let's see. These include the United Nations Children Education Fund, which is your UNICEF, the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, WHO, and the different United Nations missions to war-torn countries. The term hunger is loosely defined, and the meaning is often adapted to serve the purposes of those who may be experiencing it. So the author says the term hunger is loosely defined, right? We do not have a good definition. It's just loosely defined everywhere. And the meaning is often adapted to serve the purposes of those who may be experiencing it. So hunger is essentially an experience, according to the author. Especially in affluent countries, hunger is the gnawing pain in the stomach when a meal is missed. So when you look at affluent countries, rich countries, hunger is that pain, the biting, the chewing pain in your stomach when a meal is missed. On the other extreme, hunger is the physical depletion of those suffering from chronic undernutrition. Hunger can also mean physical depletion. Depletion is a lack, reduction. So people who have not been fed well for so long, they tend to not grow well. They do not reach adequate height, or their weight is not proper. Hunger is, however, multidimensional. So according to the author, hunger is not that extreme or this extreme. It is multidimensional. It has many dimensions to it, and it encompasses, means it includes, the emotional and political aspects of the society. So hunger is not just how you feel or whether you're overnourished or undernourished. Hunger is more than that, according to the author. It is emotional and political. It includes the anguish, the deep pain, the deep-rooted pain of a farmer faced with the choice of selling the produce from his farm to pay rent for the land or feeding his family with the food. So farmers, especially in developing countries such as India, they're faced with the choice of selling the produce from his farm to pay rent for the land or feeding his family with the food. So the farmer doesn't know whether he should sell the rice he has to feed his to pay his rent, or use the same rice to feed his family. That as well as hunger, according to the author. Hunger involves the grief of, the pain of, the sadness of, the suffering of, watching in helplessness as loved ones die for breaking the practices and policies set by a handful of elites. Elites here means the privileged people. So the privileged people, the rich ones, the educated, and the socially better off people, they break practices and policies. They basically set policies, practices and policies. And this basically causes helplessness of people who are not so elite. Now let's look at the questions. The author considers hunger as dash. A cause of revolutions, a feature worth measuring, a feature common in every culture, a feature to be ignored. So let's look at each of these. A cause of revolutions. If you look at the example here, the French Revolution in the 18th century was driven not only by political freedom, but also by the lack of bread in Paris. Food has been the cause and effect of many riots as well, occurring when the government policies cause severe economic hardship. So all this tells you that food essentially could have been a cause of revolutions, hunger, a cause of revolutions. A feature worth measuring. Nowhere does the author talk about the ability to measure hunger, so that is out of scope. It's a feature common in every culture. The author never says that it's common in every culture. It says in affluent countries, hunger might be present as a gnawing pain. On the other extreme, in the poor countries as well, it might be present. A feature to be ignored, definitely not, because the author says hunger is something that leads to a lot of revolutions, and it is a very important factor in deciding the future of a nation. So cause of revolutions is a very valid answer. Let's look at the last question. The author describes the scope of hunger to be dash. If you look at the scope of hunger, here the author says hunger is multidimensional. It covers many dimensions. It covers the emotional and political aspects of the society. So it is not just a lack of food. It is the pain of the farmer. It is the grief when you cannot provide for your loved ones. So with this background, let's try to look at this question. It is a mere non-availability of food. So the author definitely
Viela, do you have a question? And Jeanne Pomos and Mbaruke, do you have a question? Duema Viela,
Yes, sir.
which question do you have?
The previous three questions about that multiple hunger, about the hunger, how to define it. Problem is that there was many sentences to be corrected, but that one was not well explained. So I think you can explain it for me deeply, like how does can it be defined?
Question number 12 or 13?
Number 12, number 12, yes, sir.
This one?
The 12 one, yes, sir.
Hunger is one of the indicators. Wait. Hunger is one of the indicators of the magnitude of social injustices that exist in the world. Its existence can be traced back to very many years. The French Revolution in the 18th century was driven not only by demand for the political freedom, but also by the lack of bread in Paris. Tugeze aho tubishyira mu Kinyarwanda kugira ngo byumve. Turavuga ngo inzara ni kimwe mu bintu bishobora kuba byateza umutekano muke no kuba habaho imanza zidaciye mu muco. Bagendeye kuri French Revolution yo mu kinyejana cya 18 ntabwo yatewe no kubura amahoro cyangwa se ngo iterwe n'ibibazo bya politike gusa, ahubwo yanatewe no kuba i Paris mu Bufaransa hariyo ikibazo cyo kubura imigati cyangwa se kubura umugati mu Kinyarwanda cyangwa se ikibazo cy'inzara. Food has been the cause of effect of many riots occurring whenever the government policies caused several economies hardship and crashed with the basic human right to the food.
Yeah. So I beg your pardon, sir. So you see that they're asking us for defining the what's the hunger, what is it? So these previous phases, they are showing us that due to these economic hardships that took place in the 18th centuries, for me, I can define the hunger as a cause of
the instruction given is read the given passage carefully, yes, and answer the question based on what is stated or implied in the passage. Yes. Certain word phrase have been highlighted to help you to locate while answering some questions. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Then the author considered the hunger as itegeko ririmo kuvuga ngo soma umwandiko wahawe, nurangiza ukoresha amagambo yavuzwe n'umwanditsi cyangwa se ukoreshe interuro zavuzwe n'umwanditsi utanga ibisubizo. Then ikibazo ni ngo ukurikije uko umwanditsi yanditse inzara yayifashe nk'iki. Then A, yayifashe nka cause of revolution.
Yes, sir.
Kabiri, a feature worth measuring. Feature worth measuring ni nk'ikintu twavuga ngo kiri buze kumeasuringa, navuga ngo ni impamvu mu zindi mpamvu.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Then a feature common in every culture. Then the third one is, no, the fourth one is,
yes, sir.
feature to be ignored.
Yes.
First, akambere turareba eske muri passage twasomye umwanditsi iyi nzara yayise nka cause ya revolution cyangwa yayise nk'imwe mu mpamvu za revolution.
So I beg your pardon, sir. For me, bite no kuntu tumaze gusoma muri zino case zirangiye, I think is a cause of revolution.
Yes.
No. Reason is the cause of revolution. It is a political lack of political freedom.
Yes,
That's the cause of revolution. But inside the features, which is worth measuring the revolution, hunger is there. Hunger is a part of many causes.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Understand.
Hunger is a part of the causes, but is not the cause. That why it should be a feature worth measuring. Do you get me?
Yeah, I'm getting you, sir.
Yeah, the passage clearly said, see, the French Revolution in the 18th century was driven not only by demand of political freedom. Ntabwo iyi revolution yatewe no kuba abantu bari bashaka barimo gusaba uburenganzira mu bijyanye na politike.
Yes.
Ubwo already gusaba uburenganzira mu bya politike ni cause. Then in the cause, but also lack of bread in Paris. No kubura umugati ba, hey, that guy is shouting. Hey, you guys with the linking phone, please. All right. So the next cause is lack of bread in Paris. You understand? So there is two causes clearly mentioned here. Demand of political freedom. Second, lack of bread in Paris. So hunger is a part of many causes which made the French Revolution according to this author. You get the point?
I'm getting you, sir.
Good. So we are ending class for today. Just let's see if we can get the conclusion. This is the question number.
I don't see
Number 30.
the
It's
question number
already
13.
answered over here. So there is nothing much to talk about. We are finishing for this verbal part. Next class, day after tomorrow, we will talk a little bit about verbal class again. Then we will start quantitative class as well. This is a summary, but we will go in entire course. We still have 2 weeks. Don't panic. We still have 2 weeks or 3 weeks for preparation, so don't panic. Okay? Okay, guys. Thank you for joining today's class. Thank you.